They came with flags and cannons, treaties and uniforms. But behind every handshake of the British Empire was a clenched fist. Behind every claimed colony, a ransacked tomb, a looted palace, a stolen civilization. This wasn't conquest. It was theft on a planetary scale. And the evidence? It's not buried in sand or rotting in jungles, it's right in front of us, behind the polished glass of the British Museum, in sealed basements beneath Windsor Castle, in the silent halls of universities and private collections, where the past is locked away, like a crime scene too explosive to be reopened. Take the Koh-i-Noor, for example, the infamous diamond, whose name means Mountain of Light. Once adorning the crowns of Mughal emperors and Sikh rulers, it was taken not as tribute, but at gunpoint. Pried from the hand of a child king, Duleep Singh, who signed away his inheritance under the shadow of British rifles. The jewel, possibly mined over 5,000 years ago, now sits embedded in the Queen Mother's crown, guarded not by soldiers but by red velvet ropes and polite lies. India wants it back. So does Pakistan. Iran too, but Britain shrugs, calling it a part of shared heritage. Heritage? No. This was daylight robbery dressed up as diplomacy. But it's only one diamond, one shard of a much darker whole. In 1897, British troops marched into Benin City, not with the intent to negotiate but to annihilate. The Benin expedition, a so-called punitive mission, ended with the royal palace in flames and thousands of sacred bronzes, some dating back to the 13th century, ripped from their homeland and shipped off to London like trophies from a raid. They weren't just art, they were archives, ancestral records cast in bronze, sacred history melted into metal. And now, the British Museum owns hundreds, the Victoria and Albert hoards more. Private collectors brag about their pieces. The people of Nigeria, they're told they weren't capable of protecting them. The justification is always the same: preservation, protection, civilization. But who protects a culture by erasing it? Move eastward to China, 1860. The Opium Wars were more than gunboat diplomacy, they were open-air extortion. And when the British and French marched into Beijing, they didn't stop at military victory. They burned the old summer palace to ash. Historians called it the Versailles of the East, a marvel of architecture, art, and memory. But now, entire libraries, jade carvings, silk scrolls, and Buddhist relics rest in foreign institutions under cold catalog numbers. One porcelain Buddha still rests in a dusty cabinet in Cambridge, mislabeled as donor unknown. Another scroll, once used in meditation by Qing emperors, now sits in the British Library, where only a select few are allowed to even look at it. Ask why, and you'll hear it was acquired. That's the language of thieves. But perhaps the empire's most chilling heist wasn't gold, wasn't jewels, it was knowledge. In Egypt, British archaeologists dug deep, not to learn, but to extract. Tombs were opened under royal permits, then emptied. Entire temple walls were carved out and shipped abroad. Sacred texts, blueprints of cosmic order etched in hieroglyphs, disappeared into private vaults. Rumors persist that during early digs in Luxor and Karnak, British officials discovered fragments from the Library of Alexandria, long believed destroyed, and yet, somehow, fragments survive. But they're never displayed, not in London, not anywhere. Whistleblowers have hinted at underground archives where scrolls are kept in climate-sealed tombs beneath the British Museum, texts that speak of the stars, of medicine, of energy, of something older than known history itself. And those aren't even the strangest items, because not all of Britain's loot was for public show. Some items never saw daylight. In 1868, during the British Abyssinian War, an obscure shipment was loaded onto a naval vessel in secret. Among its contents, a sealed crate reportedly marked with ancient Ethiopian script. Ethiopian Christians believe it was the Ark of the Covenant stolen from Axum. Too wild? Then ask why so many naval records from that voyage were quietly lost. Ask why eyewitnesses later claimed the artifact emitted heat and had to be transported under armed guard. Ask why the royal collection contains items never photographed, never digitized, never acknowledged. What else lies in the shadows beneath Windsor Castle? Some claim stone tablets from Mesopotamia, inscribed with unknown languages. Others speak of metallic discs recovered in India still unexplained. A former museum security guard once confessed, anonymously, that entire rooms of non-Earth origin relics are guarded around the clock and no one is allowed to ask questions. Too many questions remain unanswered. Why does the British Museum own over 8 million artifacts, yet less than 1% is on display? Why are excavation records from 19th century India missing? Why are hundreds of sacred Aboriginal objects from Australia marked provenance unknown? Why did curators destroy logs from key expeditions in the 1950s? The pattern isn't preservation, it's erasure. A calculated silence designed to keep the crime scene quiet while history is rewritten by those who carried the knives. The British Empire didn't just conquer land, it stole souls, memories, and entire timelines. The official version of history is sanitized, diplomatic, wrapped in curatorial language. But the truth is brutal. This was state-sponsored looting on a global scale. And now, after centuries, the stolen are speaking back. India has formally demanded the return of the Kohinoor. Nigeria is battling for the Benin bronzes. Greece still pleads for the Elgin marbles, hacked off the Parthenon with chisels and packed in crates by Lord Elgin in 1801. But the British response never changes. We're keeping them safe. From who? The civilizations that birthed them? The people whose ancestors carved them, painted them, bled for them? It's not safety, it's custody without cause. And here's the twist that terrifies the old guard. The world is waking up. Colonial lies don't survive in the light of the internet. Indigenous leaders, activists, historians, they're all digging, not for treasure, but for truth. Every sealed vault, every missing scroll, every mislabeled crate is now a target, because what was taken by force may soon be taken back by fury. So the next time you step into a museum and marvel at the gold, the ivory, the ancient scripts, ask yourself, who bled for this? Whose gods were stolen? Whose history lies silenced in glass? And when the guides tell you it was a gift, remember, even the best thieves say please before they say thank you. The age of empire is over, but the reckoning? That's just beginning.